Hello and welcome to Media Campus, a show in which I consume a piece of media and review it. Skipped October because I, quite frankly, was exhausted from work. That being said, this one is one that timed out just right, partly because I skipped October to use. When playing a tabletop role-playing game, sometimes creating encounters and events can prove to be quite the challenge. I'm currently running a D&D campaign and have put together notes for each session using ideas that have come to me as either important story points or influence through some sort of media that I have recently consumed. The book that I'm reviewing today is a nice fill-in for those times when you were struggling to come up with something. The Ultimate Random Encounters book is a fantastic resource for coming up with encounters, combat or otherwise. Created by the cast of the podcast, Very Random Encounters, which was my first review for Media Canvas. I bought the book with high expectations because the sorts of stories that they have managed to tell on their podcast cast from disparate things based on the random generators used. First and foremost, the maps in the book are fantastic and whimsical. Every single one of the maps is something that you can make use of in your story without ever looking at the scenarios they suggest for the various maps. Just about every fantasy location you can think of is included in the book. Cities, mountains, the sea, and even encounters for traveling along the road. All with maps that you can easily put into any digital map tool, slap a grid on it, and you have a fully functional, usable map for your campaign. With every location type coming with 100 suggested encounters, you have a treasure trove of ideas to pull from. There are ideas you can expand upon to create an entire one-shot scenario or a side quest in a larger story. Some of the most useful are singular events that may or may not involve combat, that you can take and, with a little bit of tweaking, place right into your story. Need some sort of event in a city to push your players to an important location, like a church? There's a scenario involving gargoyles at the church coming to life and causing havoc. Now just tie that in with your big bad evil guy, and you have a motivation for your players to go the right way without just telling them where to go. Or you can simply use it as a distraction that has nothing to do with your story, which can create a world that feels alive because it has its own set of problems beyond the campaign. There are tools to help you, as the game master, come up with NPCs, motivations for characters, magical effects might look like, and more. Choosing a few of these, and you can quickly create a more compelling character with some things you can pull from to make them feel more fleshed out and not some unimportant villager you came up with to be exposition dump the character. Well, downtime is something that is not always looked at by players and game masters. It can be a great way for your players to develop a rapport with one another, adding more information to their characters, developing the characters' relationships, and also with each other as players, improving the way they'll interact with one another in various roleplay scenarios and combat. When I first got the book, I rolled for a page number, and I got this section. From this section, I rolled for a scenario. The encounter I rolled was easily able to be put into my campaign without any difficulty. The players had a fun, simple encounter without combat that they enjoyed for the session, with a lighter atmosphere than a heavy combat session or big bits of plot. I placed high expectations on this book because I am familiar with the things that the cast of Very Random Encounters do for their podcast, and I was not disappointed in any sense of the word. I have plans to make use of the book more in the campaign I'm running now, and will definitely advise other game masters to add the book to their resources. Which is why the Ultimate Random Encounters book gets a 5 out of 5. If you would like to follow me on social media, you can find me on YouTube and Twitter at DAMEKAGE.